Welcome to the June 17th, 2020 Sutton Conservation Commission meeting, 6:30 PM. The location, due to the current COVID-19 crisis, the town hall is closed. Therefore, this meeting will be held via Zoom teleconference. Persons may attend and participate in the hearing by using the online Zoom app at https://zoom.us/join or by phone at 1-929-205-6099 using the meeting ID 874-7920-9820, and password is 456542. Comments may also be submitted in accordance with instructions on the town's website at www.suttonmass.org on the Conservation Commission's page. Just got to read the statement in. Good evening. This open meeting of the Sutton Conservation Commission is being conducted remotely via Zoom teleconference consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. While still ensuring public access, this order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all public meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. You can find the order posted on the town's website. Regardless of our inability to meet in person, it is our intent to ensure continued transparency and the ability of the public to at least view the actions of the commission. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. Tonight's public meeting will feature public comment, as all public hearings will be continued. They won't be continued. All public hearings will be heard in accordance with the legislation passed on April 3rd, 2020. Please note that this meeting is being recorded. Accordingly, please be aware that others may be able to see you and that you take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. And we'll do a quick roll call. We have myself tonight as chair for the last time. Thank God. Bill Wentz as vice chair. Joyce as secretary. We have Mike McGovern as full member and Zach Peliquin as full member. We have Nicole Oben as associate member and James Marin as associate member. Before we get going, I just wanted to, Wanda, we have a bunch of EOs out that aren't responded to yet, right?
Yeah, I have a few.
Yeah, and if we don't have a meeting at the beginning of July, we're not going to be able to do anything until the middle of July. So
Right.
I'd like to have a meeting July 1st, even if it's just the EOs.
I won't be here, I'm sorry. I will be away that week.
That's okay.
I can take minutes, Andy.
I mean, you can still have
Yeah.
a meeting if you want.
Yep, Nicole can do the minutes. That's no problem.
Okay,
All right.
okay, so you want to do a July 1st meeting with just the EOs?
Or if anything else comes in, we can hear it. That's fine. But I think my guess is that these EOs are going to come back.
Okay, let's see, I'm not sure if I can do anything that quick. Wait a minute, let me look at the
It's
calendar.
normal 2 weeks.
Is it normal? Oh, yeah. Okay. Alrighty.
All right. Is that okay with everybody? Do you want to vote on that or?
Bill Wentz making a motion to have a meeting July 1st, 2020 at 6:30.
I'll second the motion. Or Zach Peliquin seconding the motion.
All right. Bill Wentz made the motion. Zach Peliquin second. Bill, how do you vote?
Aye.
Zach, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mike, how do you vote?
Aye.
Joyce, how do you vote?
She's still muted.
Still muted. Did you vote aye, Joyce?
Yes.
Okay, and I vote aye, so it's 5-0. All right, first up in tonight's meeting is 6:30. Public hearing, notice of intent for 182 Manchog Road, stairs in the fire pit construction. That's already been read in. While we got a minute, Wanda, can you send me the new, the thing I got to read in for 175 8 lots at 650, please? Can you email that to me?
It should be on the drive.
Okay.
Can you access the drive? Because that's where it is.
Okay.
I
If it's on,
can't access that from here.
I didn't see it. That's all.
And Bill Wentz will make a motion to waive the reading of 182 Manchog Road.
Second.
All right, Bill made the motion, Joyce seconded. Bill, how do you vote?
Aye.
Joyce, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mike, how do you vote?
Aye.
Zach, how do you vote?
Aye.
And I, Andrew DeWolf, vote aye. All right. Who's here to present 182 Manchog?
I don't know.
Brandon, who's supposed to be presenting this?
Jude Garvin of Andrews Survey and Engineering. They did continue the last meeting. I presume that they would be knowledgeable of when there was a meeting tonight, but otherwise, I haven't heard from them with any plan revisions in the last 2-week period anyway. So I don't know what to tell you. I guess they just, they forgot about it or something.
Excellent.
I'll make a motion to table 182 Manchog Road to the end of the meeting.
I'll second it because that's just what I was going to say.
All right, Bill, second that. Bill made the motion, Zach seconded. Bill, how do you vote?
Aye.
Zach, how do you vote?
Aye.
Joyce, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mike, how do you vote? And I, Andrew DeWolf, vote aye. All right. Yeah, I do not have those, that on the drive, Wanda.
Really?
Yep.
It should be under public hearings,
Yeah.
under 182.
No, it's 175 I'm looking for. I just don't have the legal ad that needs to be read in for that. If there's any way you could send that to me.
I don't know. I can try to send it on email.
Yeah, that'd be great if you could email it to me. That's easy.
Okay, let me try to do that.
Okay. I guess next up is going to be board business because we're at 6:39. Why don't we hold off on that for 1 minute? All right, it's now 6:40. It's going to be a public hearing, RDA for 7.5 West Sutton Road, driveway repair. It's just an RDA. We don't need to read that, the legal ad for that. So we could probably just open the public hearing, right?
Correct.
Yep. All right, who's here to present that project?
You don't really have to have anybody present it, honestly. So if with an RDA, if they don't show, we can still take it up.
All right. Brandon, do you
I'll
have?
send by email the paperwork.
Okay, thank you, Wanda. Do you have the information on this one, Brenda?
Yes. In fact, you found it and sent me over to take a look. I talked to the owner, Mr.
McCarthy?
McCarthy. And what he's doing is he's replacing his parking area next to the street, but he's enlarging it slightly, which does not fall under the in-kind repair, which would make an exempt if it was in-kind. So just, with a verbal order, asked him to please file an RDA. He did so in a pretty timely manner. The work that I saw is, he's already building it, but it's definitely conforming with the bylaw and 310 CMR 10. So I don't have any issues with it. I'm just glad that he filed and did the right thing.
Perfect.
Yeah, there you go. That's right. What we're seeing there is the old retaining wall,
Okay.
and he enlarged it slightly. Nothing out of the ordinary.
Okay.
Yep.
Excellent. All right, Bill, do you have any comments on this?
No comment.
Joyce, do you have any comments on this?
No comment.
Mike, any comments?
No comment.
Zach, any comments?
No comment.
Nicole, is there anybody in the public that has any comments on it?
No.
No. All
Bill
right,
wants making negative determination for 7.5 West Sutton Road.
Close the public
Second it.
hearing, please.
Bill wants making a motion to close the public hearing of 7.5 West Sutton Road.
I'll second it.
all right, Bill made the motion, Zach seconds. Bill, how do you vote?
Aye.
Zach, how do you vote?
Aye.
Joyce, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Mike, how do you vote?
Aye.
And I, Andrew, will vote aye. 6-0.
Now I'll make a motion to issue a negative determination for 7.5 West Sutton Road.
I'll
Second.
second. Oh,
All right, Bill made the motion, Joyce seconds. Bill, how do you vote?
Aye.
Joyce, how do you vote?
Aye.
Zach, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mike, how do you vote?
Aye.
And I, Andrew, will vote aye. All right, so that was a negative. All right, 6:43, so we got a good 7 minutes here. First thing under board business is going to be board reorganization for July 1st. I don't know if you want to have any discussion, or I'll take a motion. I don't have any input on it, really.
If we don't want to have any discussion, I'll make a motion. Bill Wentz is the chair, Mike McGovern's the vice chair, and Nicole Auburn would be secretary or clerk.
All right, I have a motion on the table. Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, Mike made the motion, Joyce second. Mike, how do you vote?
Aye.
Joyce, how do you vote?
Aye.
Bill, how do you vote?
Aye.
Zach, how do you vote?
Aye.
And I, Andrew, will vote aye. So it's 5-0. So it's going to be Bill, Mike, and Nicole. And Nicole will be appointed as full member at the July 7th Selectmen's meeting, just so everybody has that. All right. Next up are the minutes from 5:20 and 6:3. 5:20 looked good. 6:3s weren't ready, so we could take a motion on.
Bill wants to make a motion to accept the minutes of May 20th, 2020.
I'll second it.
All right. Bill made the motion. Zach seconds. Bill, how do you vote?
Aye.
Zach, how do you vote?
Aye.
Joyce, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mike, how do you vote?
Aye.
I, Andrew, the Wolf, vote aye. All right.
Can you please table June 3rd to the next meeting?
I make a motion to table the June 3rd, 2020 meetings until the next meeting.
Can you table it to July 17th meeting?
I make a motion to table the June 3rd, 2020 minutes until, what was it, July 17th?
July 17th, yeah.
July 17th.
Second.
All right, Zach made the motion. Bill seconded. Zach, how do you vote?
Aye.
Bill, how do you vote?
Aye.
Joyce, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mike, how do you vote?
Aye.
And I, Andrew, the Wolf, vote aye. All right. We got a project update for 290 Putnam Hill Road, which was issued an enforcement order. Brandon, do you have anything on that?
I've received nothing back since the enforcement order was issued. No response so far.
Okay, so we haven't heard anything back on 290. I'm hoping that this one will be in by July 1st.
Yep.
All right. And nobody else has any information on that on the board, do they? No. All right.
No, I didn't receive anything either.
Seeing none, we'll move on to the next one, which is going to be 5 and 5.5 Sunrise Drive. So that was a driveway installation, and we asked them nicely to file an RDA within 30 days because it was done without any filing. And that was back in over the winter. What month was that? Do we remember, Wanda?
I'm trying to find it. I know you said it, but
Which one is this again, Andy?
This is going to be Patience Sunrise Drive. I believe it's 5.5 Sunrise.
Oh,
There was a complaint called in by a board member. I went over there and shut it down, and then they didn't stop, and it was a whole debacle. Let me see if I can find it, Sunrise. Yeah, it looks like it was September 18th of 2019, so.
Was that the driveway or was that the issue with the boat ramp that the guy next door wanted to cover with boards and block it off to make a walkway to his floating dock?
No, that was a different issue. This is the driveway issue.
Okay,
I think if we gave them ample warning, and I think they're very fair, so I think this deserves an enforcement order.
okay.
Bill wants making a motion to issue an enforcement order for, what's the exact address?
5.5 Sunrise.
5.5 Sunrise.
I'll second it.
All right, Bill made the motion, Zach second. Bill, how do you vote?
Aye.
Zach, how do you vote?
Aye.
Joyce, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mike, how do you vote?
Aye.
And I, Andrew DeWolf, vote aye. So I'll, whenever you get that done, Wanda, just let me know and I'll come up with it. All right, 6:48, we got 2 more minutes, so the next was,
Actually, Andy, I had a question.
Sure.
For that last one that we did, is there a 5 Sunrise Drive too, or is it just 5.5?
Yeah, 5 Sunrises and a butter.
Okay,
Yep. It's
Okay.
that they both had filed.
okay.
So the next thing is a emergency certificate needs to be ratified for Oakhurst Road. This is a fever problem that backed up, and one of the high tension poles was getting to be underwater, and so I issued an emergency certificate last week to clear out the culvert pipe slowly to get the water flowing and away from that pole. So we just need to ratify it unless anybody has any comments on it.
Bill wants making a motion to ratify Oakhurst for an emergency order.
Second.
All right, Bill made the motion, Joyce seconds. Bill, how do you vote?
Aye.
Joyce, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mike, how do you vote?
Aye.
Zach, how do you vote?
Aye.
And I, Andrew DeWolf, vote aye. All right, we got 1 more minute.
Then, the next one for 242 Boston Road, they had put in a septic system last fall, I think it was.
Yep.
And the grass is 4 inches high. I think somebody went to do the site visit.
Yeah,
And
I
if
went-
everything's okay, we can issue that.
I went and did the site visit. I took some pictures. I sent them to you and Brandon. Everything's good. There was one mark where they had dragged the grass grill across the new lawn. But other than that, it's fine. It's ready to be closed out. Everything's settled.
Was that 242 Boston?
Yeah, 242 Boston Road.
Bill wants make a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 242 Boston Road.
I'll second it.
All right, Bill makes the motion. Zach seconds. Bill, how do you vote?
Aye.
Zach, how do you vote?
Aye.
Joyce, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mike, how do you vote?
Aye.
And I, Andrew, will vote aye. All right, it is now 6:50. I got the new public hearing for 175 8 Lots Road. Pull up the reading here. The Sutton Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, June 17th, 2020, 6:50 PM, Sutton Town Hall, 4 Oxbridge Road, Sutton, Mass. The purpose of this hearing is to review a notice of intent submitted to the Conservation Commission by Kirk Shellcamp, Upton, Mass. The project consists of construction of a single-family home, associated grading, gravel driveway, septic system, and utilities within the buffer zone of BVW 175 8 Lots Road, Sutton, Mass. This notice is publicized in accordance with the provisions of General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, commonly known as the Wetlands Protection Act, and the Sutton Wetlands Protection Bylaw. This will be a virtual meeting in accordance with orders issued by the governor during this current state of emergency. There will be no in-person attendance by the public. Persons may participate in the hearing by using the online Zoom app at https://zoom.us/join or via phone at 1-929-205-6099. Meeting ID is 874-7920-9820. Password is 456542. You may also provide input by emailing it to w.bean@town.sutton.mass.us or mailing it to Conservation, 4 Uxbridge Road, Sutton, Mass. 01590. An electronic file of the application materials can be found on the town's website at https://www.suttonmass.org/conservation/pages/May 20th meeting materials, and a copy of the same may also be requested via email to w.bean@town.sutton.mass.us or by phone to 508-865-8728. And this was published on June 11th, 2020. All right, who's here to present this filing?
I am.
All right, Brian Hassett's here. It's all yours, sir.
All right, thanks. So my name is Brian Hassett. I'm a civil engineer for Allen Engineering and Associates. I'm representing Charles Conley as my client tonight. We're proposing the construction of a single-family home and the associated utilities, including a septic system, and a wetland crossing for access to the lot with gravel driveway. We are proposing 2,300 square feet of wetland to be filled, 2,400 square feet of wetland to be replicated. This property was recently worked as an agricultural field. Let's see. Ecotech has determined that there are bordering vegetated wetlands on the site and one isolated wetland. The wetlands are described as a wet meadow or a wet agricultural field, and portions of which are located within a mowed agricultural field. Let's see, the mowed field area was included within the delineated wetland area based on the presence of indicators of wetland hydrology and soil. Let's see, it's kind of tough to do without a plan to point to here. But the entire frontage of this lot is completely spanned by wetlands. So the crossing is absolutely necessary in order to make it a viable buildable lot. We picked the spot that we feel like would have the least amount of impact on the wetlands in order for it to be filled. And we were able to pick an area, kind of a knob, if you will, to replicate, to kind of cut out of the existing wetland area, to kind of hopefully make it stay a bit and take a little bit better. Let's see, anything else? Yeah, so we decided to go with a paved, or sorry, not a paved driveway, a gravel driveway instead of a paved driveway in order to reduce the amount of impervious area we're increasing on the lot. The lot size is 5.6 acres, about 240,000 square feet. And we are proposing an increase of impervious area of about 4,500 square feet. And some of that gets mitigated with underground roof infiltrator units coming off the proposed house that we have. We're also, there's no public water service available out on the road, so we're also proposing a well to be installed, although that is just on the outside of the buffer. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to the board for questions or comments.
Excellent, thank you very much. Brandon, any comments on this?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I've been in touch with Brian for, a couple of weeks now with the comments that I made.
Yep.
I only had a few. No, I had more like 24 comments for this one. A lot of it, highly technical stuff like change this note or adjust that note. As far as the overarching comments, I'll go over those real quick for further discussion. Nicole, could you bring the plan back up? Thank you. Okay, one of the things about this plan is that they're proposing a gravel driveway, which sounds good, but in reality, a compacted gravel driveway is about as impervious as a paved driveway over time anyway. So what I'd like to see is a shallow grass swale on the wetland side of the driveway to catch anything that runs off. And plus some kind of a BMP to deal with the runoff in the area where the grades are changing near the street, in the area where the wetlands being filled. Brian, I'm looking at the grades here and it looks like the grades go down towards the street. Am I right?
Yeah, to an extent. There's a bit of a high point that happens. Because at the street, the elevation is about 92, and it ramps up to make it over the proposed culvert that we have, the 15-incher.
Okay, so there won't, the point is that there won't be a large fetch of driveway running off towards the street to add additional water onto 8 lots?
No, there will not be.
All right, that's a good point. Okay, thank you. That was a big thing. As far as the crossing, I think that this is the best place to do the crossing. Obviously the wetland encompasses the entire front of the property, and there's no other way in. The way that the lots were originally divided aside, now that this is what we have to deal with, there's no other means of ingress or egress onto the property. So they have to do a wetland crossing, and they picked the spot where they're going to have the least amount of impact. So I'm in agreement with that. Otherwise, the majority of the work is the gravel driveway within the buffer zone. I did ask if the house and any other components could have been shifted a little further back to stay outside of the buffer zone of that wet meadow. What do you think about that, Brian?
Well, the idea of keeping it kind of where it is our client, he wants to have the proposed barn and the proposed 4-bedroom dwelling to be kind of in line with each other, if that makes sense. And in order to kind of reduce cost for him a bit, I know it's a gravel driveway, so it's not a paved one, so it's not as expensive to build, but just to keep costs down, we wanted to keep it kind of as short as possible. Another thing I was thinking of too is the area that we gave him out front. It's about a 3-to-1 slope coming down from the house until we get to the erosion control barrier. So it doesn't really leave him a lot of space to do very much. So it kind of creates a nice pocket. If you look behind the barn and behind the house of an area to operate, to kind of if he was going to have like big barbecue or cookout, or if he was going to install a play set or something like that, it gives him a nice big area wide open to do that kind of thing that wouldn't be anywhere near any of the wetlands.
Okay, I'll leave that for, I just wanted to point that out.
Yep.
That the house and the driveway and barn area are shifted towards the front wetland. It could be moved further back, but I just want to point that out, and I'll let the Conservation Commission discuss and decide what they want to do on that. Does Mr. Connolly wish to continue to cut the grass that's in the wetlands after this is all permitted? Like, as in keep it an open wet meadow, or does he just want to allow it to grow back in?
He hasn't really indicated a preference on that. but that's definitely something I can find out. One of the things I wanted to find out too is if the board had the commission had a preference on that, whether they'd rather see it kind of remain as a wet meadow, or as you kind of hinted towards letting it grow up, and then it would probably become closer to a woody vegetation that they would have out there.
I'll let the commission discuss that, but it has been a policy of the commission to try and keep these wet meadow, farm fields, and it keeps a certain aesthetic in the town that I think is positive. And but again, that's a discussion point. I talked about the recent change in the policy on the buffer zone signs, and instead of putting them at the limit of work, to put them at the wetland boundary at every other flag. And, I have some other comments about, putting in some details, changing some notes. Another question, that CLDI pipe, do you think that's at a good location to allow unimpeded hydraulic flow between the small section of wetland that's going to be cut off from the main body, and why?
Yeah, I think it's just the best spot for it where it's at right now.
The whole point is to make sure that we have unimpeded hydraulic connection, because if that little section, as small as it is, gets cut off, it technically becomes an isolated wetland, and that adds to the amount of disturbance. So I just want to make sure you're comfortable that that location is going to allow a unimpeded hydraulic connection between the two sides.
Yeah, no, we're confident.
Okay. Where are you with other permits, like Board of Health or any others that you have?
We haven't filed with the Board of Health yet. We're going to be filing with them sometime later this week. But I mean, I can't speak for the Board of Health, but I can say it's a pretty straightforward kind of system and setup. I wouldn't really expect anything to change. And anything that would change would be pretty minor with the Board of Health.
Okay, those were the big ticket items, the overarching questions I had for discussion with the board. Otherwise, I had probably about 20 small, issues with, notes and minor stuff. So I'll leave it there for the commission to discuss.
Thank you, Brandon. I appreciate that. Bill, do you have any comments on this project?
It looks like so far we've got it for a lot that's pretty tough to start out with. That Brian's done a pretty good job putting it together. I'm trying to review it now as best I can. Some questions about keeping the field to field. That's kind of the norm lately in town. And I think that's about it for now, unless we can move things around, but I don't think there's much room to move things left to right or front to back.
Thank you, Bill. Joyce, do you have any comments on this project?
Yes, it's our policy that we do the replication area first, and I know a previous one we had said they could do it later, but I think in this case they need to do the replication area first, or it may be forgetting. They may forget about it, and so that needs to be there first.
Okay, that sounds fine. I mean, I guess what would be the process on that? I mean, it wouldn't need to get done and then be existing for 2 years first or anything like that. It would just need to be started and then kind of in the waiting period, letting it to grow, right?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. No, that seems like a good idea.
And Brandon usually is looking at it when we cut it down to make sure it's going to be functional.
Right. That's all in the I was saying that I had a bunch of minor detail notes. That's one of them, is to make sure that there's a wetland scientist in charge of the replication, and that there has to be a bottom inspection of the replication area to make sure it has the proper hydrology, before they put the topsoil back into the plant.
Thank you, Joyce. Thank you, Brandon. Mike, do you have comments on this?
No, I'm good.
Zach, do you have comments on this?
I have one question, if we could get the plan back up, Nicole. Thank you. I'm just curious what is this distance here? Because I can't really see it on my computer. Is that the wetland to the driveway or what? Or is that the edge of work?
I guess I'm not sure which.
Sorry, so
I couldn't see
if you're looking at the screen, it's right at the very bottom of the wetland for the top part.
like that long finger that.
Yeah, the end of the long finger. That's a good way of putting it.
Yep. How far is that from the house?
Yeah.
That is 71.1 feet.
Oh, okay. I thought it looked a lot closer, so I was just curious.
Well, it's also, it's 39 feet from the limit of work and grading associated
Okay.
with the front side of the house. So it'll be within like 30, it says 38.8, so let's just say 39 feet.
Okay, no, that's fine. I thought it just looked very close. I was just wanting to know what that actually was. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Zach. And as we had talked about before, I do see the homeowners. It's something we do like to see those fields remain and mowed twice a year, like you were haying it, to leave it as a wet meadow. I think that's the aesthetics of the town.
Okay. Would it be, so I guess, does that leave it an open option to mow it, or would it be more of a requirement to mow it twice a year?
That's Brandon's department.
That's an open, that's always an option. Some people want to keep it as a field, and some people would just rather let it go. So what we do in the order of conditions is we give you the option to do it. But what happens is that after a 5-year period, if you haven't mowed it after a 5-year period and the woody vegetation starts to grow back,
Mhm.
then that's it. Then you would have to get a permit. You'd have to come back in to get a permit to cut it. So after 5 years, you'd have to let it grow in.
Okay.
Thank you, Brandon, for the explanation on that. I do see some phone numbers and familiar faces. Nicole, do we have anyone waiting for comment?
I have nobody from the audience on my screen, but I don't know if there's anybody that's currently waiting in the picture to say anything.
Jonathan Anderson, I'd just like to ask a question.
Thank you, Jonathan. Go ahead.
The only question I have is there's a pipe that crosses underneath the road from that property over to the side where the Maroney's property is and the Carroll's property. So I was just wondering if there's going to be any impact to flow going of water through that pipe.
No, there shouldn't be any change in flow. The only change in flow would be just from the crossing and going through the culvert that would go directly underneath the driveway, attaching either sides of the wetlands, both on the same property.
Okay, thank you. That's all I had.
Thanks.
Thank you. Did you actually see an exit to that pipe on that side of the road, Jonathan?
Yeah, there is an exit, yes. Yep.
That's funny, 'cause when they filed before, someone could file on this. I thought they said they couldn't find the exit for it. That's interesting.
Yeah, in fact, before the property was sold, they actually brought in an excavator on the property side and actually did some kind of cleaning up around that area to open the pipe up on this side of the road. So,
Gotcha. Thank you. Is there anybody else from the public that would like to speak to this? Miss Janet Deshays, go ahead.
You're on mute, Janet.
I'm trying. I think I'm unmuted now.
We can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we're at 183 8 Lots Road, and we're at the retreat lot. And when Mr. Cronin owned the whole parcel, it was about 12 years ago when he divided the entire parcel, and it was approved through the planning board. And we have a question. We believe that it's a limited project under 310 CMR 10.53, the Mass DEP Wetlands project. And it's under 10.53 in parentheses 3 parentheses E, the construction of a maintenance of a new roadway or driveway. And our concern is that, or our question is that we don't think that this meets the Wetlands Protection Act regulations, because when it was divided, the owner should have provided access without any impacts to wetlands. They could have come up with a common driveway or just avoided any impact to wetlands. So our question is, we would request resolution of this apparent non-compliance of the Wetlands Protection Act regulations. And we'd like to follow up with submitting some written comments. So that's it. Thank you.
Brandon, do you have any comment on that? I know we went through something similar with that subdivision of the parcels on Lincoln Road, and our policy now, we're going to put into places that they're going to have to do an ANRAD and all wetlands delineations before they split the lots, really.
Right, and if I remember correctly, it was the subdivision of these lots that led to that policy. Because when this commission found out about the way that 175 was divided with all the other lots, that it should never have been divided like it was, but unfortunately there was no verification, a requirement for the verification of the wetland boundary at the time. So being we call a Form A subdivision, application not required, it's a by right subdivision as long as you have the adequate amount of frontage and acreage on the site, that it's a by right subdivision. When these lots were subdivided, there were no controls in place with the Conservation Commission to prevent that, and there's no requirement for the applicant to even notify the Conservation Commission about a Form A subdivision plan. So by the time this Conservation Commission found out about this land subdivision, it was already too late. So there wasn't anything that the commission could do about it. And I believe this is the only lot that has this problem. All right, that said, this project technically is not considered a limited project. I can see where you're coming from, because it's a driveway where there is no other means of ingress or egress. But the limited projects, they apply to situations where more than 5,000 square feet of wetland is required to be filled. So the Wetlands Protection Act limits wetland fill to 5,000 square feet, unless it's listed in 310 CMR 10.53 limited project section. So there's only a limited number of project types that you are allowed to fill in more than 5,000 square feet. So that's where the limited project provision comes in. It's similar in that it's a driveway, yes, and there's no other means of ingress or egress, but we are less than 5,000 square feet. So when you're in that situation, you go to 310 CMR 10.55 subsection 4, which allows the Conservation Commission to allow up to 5,000 square feet of fill of a wetland, as long as that wetland is replicated somewhere else on site at a ratio of 1:1. So for every square foot of wetland that's filled, they must create a square foot of wetland somewhere else on site. So that's the story on the subdivision of these lots, which was the way it was done was unfortunate, but At this point, there's no going back, and the commission is going to presumably exercise their right to allow a disturbance of up to 5,000 square feet of bordering vegetated wetland with a replication area. So that's that story.
Could I respond just for a second?
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that explanation. But I believe that the planning board did approve the retreat lot and the frontage lots at the time. So I don't know how your response is to that. And also, I guess we have another concern with the wetland itself, because it sounds like even if this were approved, it doesn't sound like this wetland would be maintained as a wetland. It sounds like it could, be mowed or changed in some way. And that's just a concern also, unless it was deemed agricultural going forward, which it's not at this point. It's taken out of agricultural land designation. So that's just another comment that we have. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, to quickly respond to that, when you replicate a wetland, you're supposed to replicate like for like. So we have a wet meadow, so the replication area is also going to be in the form of a wet meadow. And my opinion is with proper permitting, the Conservation Commission could allow it to be continue to be maintained as a wet meadow type, as opposed to just letting it grow up as eventually becoming a red maple swamp, which in my opinion anyway, from the beginning has been, we have plenty of that, and we have a distinct shortage of wet meadows in Massachusetts. So that's the rationale behind that.
But it's not the replication area, it's the area along the road that's no longer agricultural.
Correct, and I think that if properly permitted, that the owner could continue to maintain it as a wet meadow. And if the agricultural issue comes up, I suppose that if they were able to sell hay, then that would take care of that situation as a continuation of the agricultural use. But I personally don't think that it's a hard requirement.
On a note on that, Brandon, it cannot go back according to Nick Nunemacher, 61A, unless any lot in Sutton, unless it's 5 acres of farmland and then approximately 2 acres pulled out as a house lot, where the lot is not that many acres. So it would be continue to be mowed twice a year as called a farm field, wet meadow. It wouldn't be I answered Janet's question, it wouldn't be allowed to be mowed like a regular lawn. So it would be a field
Right,
as
it
is
couldn't be
today.
turned into lawn. It would have to be the continued use. So the point is that there would be no interruption in use. So therefore the use would be of haying it a couple times a year would not be broken. And as far as the Chapter 61A, that's the tax incentive program. What I'm talking about is more along the lines of the provisions of 310 CMR 10.
Thank you. Thank you all. Any more comments from anybody?
I just have one more question for Brandon. Just going back to the planning board, you had mentioned that, I have a question. Does the engineering firm who did the, kind of broke up the lots, do they have to designate that there's wetlands there, or is that not a requirement? Because, yeah, I just have that, because I think it could have been avoided if that was designated at that time. And I was on the planning board at that time, and I obviously had to recuse myself from the case because of being a abutter, but I do not recall seeing any wetlands being delineated at that time. So I just have a question.
Yeah.
Is that a requirement?
Yeah, anyone else on the commission, feel free to jump in, but at least at the time that these lots got divided, I don't believe there was any requirement delineate wetlands or even contact the commission about it, which is
Well,
unfortunate.
no, not to speak over you, Brandon, and through the chair, the town, we've asked numerous times that every town board send what we call a routing slip. Jonathan's familiar with this because he sat on a board and now selectman, but for anybody else, it's called a routing slip. So it basically says, hey, this project's going on in front of planning, and they send it to conservation and all the other boards, and vice versa. If someone comes in to us, we're supposed to notify other boards. To the best of my knowledge, when this was subdivided years ago, no other, well, conservation definitely was not notified. Had we been notified, we would have pulled it up on the screen, done our due diligence, and made the engineer and the owner come in and file it in front of all of us. We were never made aware of the situation. Please, someone on conservation, correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I don't think we ever were made aware of this until it was too late.
I remember that when they took it out of 61A, we just assumed that they were going to come to conservation because we knew there were wetlands there. It went through planning board and no one delineated the wetlands beforehand. So this created this lot that this woman got stuck with, this lot that she couldn't enter because of the wetlands across the front. And it does look a little different than typical wetlands. So just driving by, you might not even know it was a wetland there. As far as agricultural, I don't think it's big enough to have a hayfield to qualify for 61A. One of the reasons why we like the wet meadows is because there are lots of birds that nest in wet meadows, and so when it gets mowed twice a year, it would be after July 15th when the birds are through nesting.
Thank you, Joyce. And yeah, we are respectfully requesting, especially on these big projects, that we get routing slips on it. And it's changed over the last couple of years, I feel. We've gotten more from the Board of Health and we've gotten more from planning, and I think we're heading in the right direction. But, you know, this was before any of this really came up.
So through the chair, Andy, just Jonathan had asked a question about zoning, and the only thing that's getting missed is there is a requirement. The wetlands are supposed to be flagged prior to going to planning board. There's upland, there's ratio requirements to meet the A&R plan requirements. And I believe, I do have some knowledge of this land that it got missed, that the wetlands weren't flagged correctly. I still think it meets the requirements, even though this wetland was missed at the time of breaking up the land. I think going forward, when Brandon has a chance to look at the land, the thing that we want to make sure happens that's happening now is that Brandon gets a chance to walk the land to make sure that there's a consultant that confirms the wetland line. So that is what wasn't being done back when this land was created, that I believe gets done now. And I believe that even if this wetland got flagged, they still would have been able to create this lot under our bylaws and the state regulations. So I don't think there was any misjustice done, but the wetlands were missed. I think the most important thing now is to get this approved. It's an A&R lot. It does meet all the requirements. I know these people have been working hard to try to build on it. So I think that we should do what we can to move this approval along, to let them build their home. I think it's a great plan. I think it's unfortunate what happened at the planning board level. I hope I answered your questions, Jonathan. I believe that's how zoning is in town. And that's all I have to say.
Thanks, Mike. Brandon, is there any major changes that would prevent us from approving this lot?
I think in general, no. I had a couple of dozen comments to Brian regarding components of the site plan that I would still like to see put on and sent to me for a final review. I just think it's just too many comments that I had that I would like to review. If it was one or two comments that were minor, I would recommend approval tonight with, contingent upon revised plans, but there's a few too many. I'd like to see the plan first, if it's all right with you.
In that case, I'll take a motion, continue to the next meeting.
I'll make a motion to
Well, before Zach continues through the chair, will 2 weeks be enough if they haven't gone to Board of Health?
Through the chair, Andy, I agree with Bill. Board of Health.
Could we do the 17th of July?
Brian Hassett, what's your status with the Board of Health?
Like I said, we're going to be filing this week. I know their turnaround time is usually pretty quick, probably within a week or a week and a half at most, I would think. So I would, and my client, I know he's actually closing at some point this month. So the sooner the next meeting that I can get on for my client, that's the better option for us.
Yeah, we can do it July 1st. That's fine.
Okay. Yeah, just in case, pushing the closing off is going to be having to get done, the less we push it off, the better. So I appreciate that, yeah.
All right, so I will make a motion to continue, what is it? 175 8 Lots Road to July 1st at
6:30.
6:30?
6:30 p.m.
Second.
Zach Peliquin made the motion. Bill went second. Zach, how do you vote?
Aye.
Bill, how do you vote?
Aye.
Joyce, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mike, how do you vote?
Aye.
And I, Andrew, will vote aye. Continued 5-0. Thank you all. Next thing we have on the agenda is departmental project input forms or routing slips. Do we have any, Wanda, that came up?
No, we don't, not this time.
All right, thank you for that. I got a complaint from a board member, again, on 125 Singletary today. Apparently, they're putting in telephone poles. Bill, I'm going to ask you to go look at this one tomorrow at some point.
I'll take a ride in the morning.
We already have a enforcement order for one of those houses. I don't know if we need to write the other house up or what it is. Can you just take a look and see what you think?
Will do.
Thank you.
Andy, through the chair.
Go ahead, Mike.
In regards to this, I had asked Brandon to send me a copy of the site plan. Just to refresh everybody, this was sent to this board several months ago of substantial completion, letter from an engineer to have the order of conditions closed out. Brandon did a look over of the plan, and there's some swales that will capture water. I believe there's some trees that got taken down by the street. I just think, Bill, when you go, so where are we with the enforcement order from the trees? And then I believe that this order of conditions has been sold with the property. So we got construction going on another lot that's affecting the other lot, the order of conditions. And I believe that we've had a similar situation on another lot with the same person. And he called up Wanda and said that he had sold the land and he wasn't responsible anymore. So it's kind of complicated just to make sure that where did we send the enforcement order? Does it go to the new owner of the property where the order of conditions has been recorded? Or is it going to the builder of the lot that abuts it that has the common drive where these violations are taking place? It's a little complicated.
The enforcement order went to both people, to the first owner, and then it did go to the previous owner now at 125. That's when I got the phone call.
So at what point do these violations become finable? I think that with the trees, and we've had no response, we've had nobody. So I think the next step is that it becomes a fine every day. I could be wrong. Maybe we still need to reach out to them some more. I surely don't want to do it prematurely, but I think everybody has to be mindful. There's been a lot going on in these two pieces of property for a while now. Back to
Does everybody know that that is a state road and those trees had nothing to do with us? They would have had to get permit from the state to take them down. That's an issue.
Well, they would still have to file with our Conservation Commission.
Yeah. Yeah, because isn't the driveway to 135 on our
The
Just-
EO on 125 only got sent to the new owner. You're thinking about 290 went to the old owner as well, correct?
No, it did go to the old owner. Then it got sent to the owner that is supposed to have it. It got sent by accident to the old owner.
So Andy,
Through the chair.
So the mission here is there should be siltation and wattles, and there should be a plan being followed. And it was tried to be closed out. It was told to us that all the work was done. So if we're going to do a site visit, I don't know. There's a lot not going right. And at what point do we say, stop, cease and desist, come in front of our board, explain to us what's going on, how are you going to move forward? That's my recommendation, is that we need to reel this one in. I mean, it just seems like every time we drive by over for a year, and I think, Joyce, you've been there several times over the year plus on this order of conditions.
Yes, we were there a couple of times for the first lot, and we did walk out and where they're building the new house now.
So Joyce, so just so you understand, this order of conditions that we're talking about for the house out back, they don't have an order of conditions for the house out back. They have it still from that piece of land from doing the filing from the septic and the remodeling, and they showed a gravel road going out back, but they didn't really depict everything that was going to need to go on to develop the land in the back. And they tried to close it out.
Without
it's-
even going there.
Well, I just don't know how to move forward on this one. I think, Brandon, I'm looking for some words from you of what should we do here that
Right.
just protects the best interest of the public in the wetland. And I'm not trying to ever lose track of the mission. That's all I want to do. I don't want to give somebody a hard time. I don't want to slow down building. I just want to make sure that it's documented correctly on the plans. The work is permitted that's being done, because that's the regulations that we have to follow, and that the proper measures for protection are in place.
Yeah. At this point, with the way that the enforcement order was written, I think that it's going to be imperative that Wanda follow up with a letter saying that Ms. Costa, who's the current owner, needs to contact the commission to attend a meeting to talk about the issues.
Through the chair at Warner and Brandon, is the current owner the one putting the poles in? Is he the one building the house out back? Or do we not know?
Apparently, I don't know.
Last I remember, there was the 2 lots there, the one up front with the existing house, and then Gianni Romeo cut off that second lot, which actually has frontage, also has frontage on Singletary, but there's a huge wetland in the way. So what they did is a shared driveway through, along the side of the house at 125 Singletary. It has to be, usually, it has to be the builder. I presume it's still Gianni Romeo is putting in those poles, which are going to the house in the back.
And for clarification, where we're on TV here, just to get it on record, those poles have not been authorized by this board. And there's no order of conditions or RDA file for those telephone poles going through the wetlands, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, Bill, I checked the site plan for 125 Singletary that it was approved by this commission, and I did not see where telephone poles were depicted on that site plan. So that tells me that the telephone poles are technically not approved as part of that work that's within 100 feet of the wetland.
Now, I have a question, and I may be mixing them up. Didn't we send a cease and desist order to this one? Or was that a different one? I just want to clarify.
Wanda, that'd be your department. Did this get?
No, it was just a letter with the warning ticket.
Why don't we, Bill, when you go tomorrow, why don't you print out 2 copies of that cease and desist letter that Brandon came up with? And if there's work going on, drop one at each house. Drop one at 125 and drop one at 135.
I'd actually like to make a motion that, I was going to make a motion to issue a cease and desist for 125 Singletary Ave if there's work going on, but I don't know if that's premature. I have not gone by there in about 3 days to see any poles.
Yeah, you can just do it and we can ratify at the next meeting. Because
Okay.
if there's work, we're gonna write them both up because we can't tell exactly who and bring them both in for a meeting and then they can argue in front of us and that'll tell us who's doing it. It doesn't need to go this way. Like I told him at that meeting, all he needs to do, he can come in for a minor field change on this stuff. Just, we know we could work with you and we'd work with anybody, but it's just not going that way. So if you'd be so kind as to do that and just let me know how you make it.
Will do.
Thank you. Anybody else have any comments on that?
Bill, just just so there's a whole detail on the side of the driveway that captures all the water. I have no more to say. I don't want to keep repeating myself. We already, a reinforcement order, trees down, now poles, roads being built, houses, land being sold, new owners. They don't even know what's going on, I'm sure. It's just, hopefully someone will check in with us. I guess that's all we're asking for.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, I am completely disgusted with everything that is going on, with the way this continues to happen. I think we've been more than patient. We've done the friendly route. We've done an enforcement order. Quite frankly, I'm done with this. I'll take a ride tomorrow morning, but I think this is a shame and it keeps continuing and I don't know why it's still continuing, but that's all I have to say on that one.
Every
An
morning
option,
I go
Bill.
by, every morning I go by 125 and 135. I didn't see anything. Last night on the way home, I saw nothing. So you might want to go a little later than 8 o'clock in the morning. Maybe that's when those poles went in. I didn't see anything.
An option, Bill, tomorrow, bring the ticket book with you and leave a warning ticket, at the front door or in the mailbox or something, with a requirement that they need to respond to the enforcement order by a date certain.
Can we have them put on the July 1st meeting under the current enforcement order that's out there?
Sure, I can do that.
Perfect.
I agree, Bill. That's a great idea. That's what I was saying. I just would hope somebody could come in and just talk to us.
All right, thank you. Last thing I have for tonight is Joyce, it was a couple weeks ago, had notified me she heard tree cutting down off of Maple and Merriam Lane. I went over there and investigated, and the tree cutting was at 7 Andrews Drive, which is off of Maple. The closest lot line is like 255 feet from the water, so they were out of jurisdiction, but they did take down quite a bit of trees up there.
I did see them stump grinding right next to the water, but I don't know what they took down there.
Yeah, I didn't see any. I think that might have been Wanda. Who was the one that was going to close out their RDA that wanted to send pictures? Was that Salmon?
I think so.
Yeah, I didn't see that work, and I saw Professional Tree at 7 Andrews. That's what I witnessed.
We have an order from 40 Maple Lane. I think, I don't know, is that the same place?
I believe it. I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, so it might have been something with that.
All right. Is there any other business to be heard tonight?
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All right. Bill makes the motion. Zach seconds. Bill, how do you vote?
Aye.
Joyce, how do you vote?
I'd like to say thank you for 15 years and good luck. I vote yes.
Thank you, Joyce. Zach, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mike, how do you vote?
Aye.
And I, Andrew Wolf, vote aye. Good night, everybody.
Before we end, Joyce, is
Oh,
this
wait.
officially your last meeting? Is the term over?
as of July 1st.
Thank you for 15 years, Joyce.
Thank you, Joyce.
Thank you, Joyce.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.